and they signed a contract. The period for negotiations came to a head, and then you have a purse bid, and the purse bid is what it is. He signed a contract. He's contractually obliged to do things, as we are. From our perspective, we're contractually obliged to do things as well.
So if he is contractually obliged to do stuff, won't he be facing penalisations from the WBC or sanctioning fees?
We're obviously not going to just let this go. There'll be some sort of sanction, I'm sure, against him for not showing up.
Ooh, what's good, family? Shout out to my doggy Malik Roach for supporting your man the YB and his membership things, no doubt. So we just heard there from your mans, Frank, Finding Nemo, Warren, airing out Dillian the Shillian shite. Oh man, it's bad for your man Shillian. And I've been saying, I ain't gonna lie to you, as much as the YB is 190 IQ, he can't lie to you on this one. Who was the first one to tell you, man, that Dillian the Shillian shite, aka the Brixton Bomber, had a useless legal team? Even back in September, when I hadn't fully started beefing Shillian and his team, I was saying things like, why have they launched a case in September 2021 against the WBC? Why hadn't they launched it 2-3 years ago when the whole Wilder shenanigans was going on, and Dillian Whyte's claim was a lot stronger because he hadn't been knocked out by the 50-year-old Russian uncle called Povetkin, and he'd been waiting a long time for one man, Deontay Wilder. And he'd been looked over for people like Ortiz, Fury, and Dominic Bumzeel. All them factors there made Dillian's case a lot stronger back then. Now he ain't really got a case. Anyway, so like I said, I've been saying this for a long time. Dillian's legal team is bum legal team. And I've got some documents coming soon, some evidence coming soon in another video that shows Dillian Whyte got his lawyer from Co-op Legal Services. Oops, yeah, Co-op. That's who he's working with. Trust me, you're going to see the evidence. I've got some evidence. Dillian Whyte is working from lawyers from the Co-op. Yeah, type in, you can look at yourself. Type into Google, Co-op Legal Services. Oops, yeah, your man Dillian, number one man's, is from Co-op. Anyway, so apart from Dillian hiring Co-op lawyers, on the basis of Dillian hiring Co-op lawyers, guess what? He getting Co-op corner shop advice. Because a lot of you goofies have been sitting there celebrating. A lot of you Shillian shite Brixton Bomber Man fans have been sitting there stroking yourselves off at the idea of Dillian getting some sort of leg up. Oh yeah, YB, Dillian's missing the press conference. Yeah, it's really smart advice. We're mugging off Tyson Fury, who sold 100,000 without him anyway. Oh yeah, Dillian, don't turn up to the press conference. It's really a smart move to do that. So all you Brixton Bomber fans who've been proper getting into it, thinking you're super smart. Little did you know, anyone who knows anything about boxing contracts understands that within the contract there are basic requirements. I've explained this before. Look at the UFC, but it's not even just UFC, it's standard. Anyone who knows anything about boxing contract knows there are basic requirements for fighters. Hence why, let's be real now, do you think this is the first time a fighter hasn't been bothered? Or, you know what I mean? Do you think this is the first time a fighter can't be asked to go to a press conference? Do you think this is a magical innovation? Do you think Dillian's the first man to magically work out that, wait a minute, I'm getting paid a guarantee, so that means I don't have to turn up? Don't you think every fighter would do that? Don't you think every B-side would think, wait a minute, I'm getting paid my money anyway, so let me not do anything, I'll just turn up on the fight night? If you speak to any fighter, 99 or 90% of fighters hate doing media obligations because they're tiring, they're boring, they have to answer the same question time and time again. So the point is, within these contracts, the contracts and the governing bodies understand to make an event successful, certain things are required, and there's a minimum level of interaction with the media that's required as standard. As a big example, look at Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor had a big fallout with the UFC because he didn't want to do a whole bunch of media obligations before his fight. He just wanted to turn up. Oops, he ended up having to bend to Dana's will. Because Dana's one of the best promoters of all time, and he understands Obviously, promotion and media is a key part of selling pay-per-views. You can't sell an event no one knows about. So on that basis, Dillian Whyte has certainly signed a contract that has, you heard that from Frank. Frank knows what the contract in front of him. And the worst thing is, anyone who knows anything about the sport of boxing knows this. It's standard. You have minimum obligations. And one of them minimum obligations is turning up to a ticket launch press conference. That's standard. And all you goofy Chilean fans who was laughing and giggling, oh yeah, Dillian's got one over. You sound like Muppets, and you're so struggling with IQ here. You've played your man a blinder for getting punked. That's all he's done for himself. And look at history. Every single time Dillian has got this co-op advice, what's happened? For example, Dillian Whyte, no doubt gets advised, oh Dillian, if you put down you only made 300 grand, we're going to save a couple thousand on the back end because we're going to mug the WBC off. Now anyone with a brain would have said, wait a minute Dillian, let's think long term here. Why are we going to save pennies to lose pounds? Why are we going to save a couple tens of grands or 100 grands posting a low number when we know we're going to need the WBC down the line for this Fury fight or for a mandatory shot? Nope. Dillian takes the quick money, thinks he's smart, takes his legal advisor's advice, takes his co-op legal advisor's advice, and ends up playing himself out of $5, possibly even $10 million. Let's be real now. If Dillian had got the 45%, that would have been best part of 20 million. Now he's getting 8, for example. Do you understand? So all these things, they all add up. And now here we are again, I'm afraid to say. Here we are again. Another example. I'm forewarning this. And I'm pretty sure I even forewarned it anyway. Dillian not turning up to a press conference. There's nothing smart about that. And you've heard from Frank there. And it's interesting. There's another video Frank put out. It's now disappeared. If you look at... Frank Warren had a 30-minute interview with IFL TV. It's disappeared now. But he went into more detail on what they're going to do. But essentially, they've applied to the WBC the same way Frank Warren or same way Team Fury applied to the WBC to change the purse amount. And originally, the purse amount would have been whatever it was. Frank Warren saw Dillian Whyte's low numbers and then applied for it to be 20% or applied for an adjustment. That's how the business game works. Yeah? Team Fury capitalised on Team Dillian Whyte's sloppy business. Yeah? It's funny, I've seen people blaming Team Fury are out of order for petitioning the WBC on the basis that Dillian ain't making no bread, or Dillian didn't disclose any bread, or disclose a low number. Whose fault's that? Start taking responsibility, people. Oh, YB, it's not Dillian's fault that he put 300 grand when he was really making millions. Whose fault is it then? Yeah? Whose fault is it? Take responsibility. You got played and you took a big L. Rather than suck it up and acknowledge you got your lawyers from Co-op and getting better advice, aka coming through to the YB 190 IQ. Oops, yeah. Rather than do that, you're trying it again. Oh, I know what we'll do. We'll renege on the contract, do something that's never been done before, i.e. not turning up to press events. Where do you think that's leading, Chilean? Do you think... Where's the win in that? Number one, Team Fury already offered to give Dillian some pay-per-view upside. Obviously, it wasn't enough in his eyes, but he could be thinking, you know what, I'm going to take that upside and I'm going to try and run with it. Let me try and make this event as big as possible. Because who knows, that little percentage they may have offered could end up being a big amount if you put effort in, knowing how big this fight could be, especially now we've seen the ticket numbers. But rather than bet on himself, rather than try and get invested in this and try and, and double down, this man, this stickler, and his team are so low IQ, they're going to end up with even less. Because again, we know the WBC don't have a great relationship with Dillian, and I can't even really blame them for that, given what's gone on, i.e. him posting fake numbers and whatever else. None of that gets you in favour, does it? Let's be real now. And now Dillian's reneging on contract details, i.e. not turning up to a press conference. And Team Fury, much like when they much like when they petitioned to change the purse splits, guess what? They've petitioned again, they've sanctioned again against Dillian for not turning up to the press conference. Where do you think, all of Dillian's dopey ass team, where do you think that's going? Who's giving him this advice not to turn up? I think it's Eddie Hearn. I think Eddie Hearn, because he's been cut out, Eddie Hearn isn't involved in this show at all. And I think Eddie Hearn's thinking, you know what? Dillian's dopey. Let me get Dillian punked off. For example, we know Eddie Hearn is big mad and big sour that he lost the purse bid for this event. And he's even more mad now that the event is booming with success. So from Eddie Hearn's point of view, he's been cut out, don't forget, people. In as much as Dillian Whyte has gone with Ben Chalong. Yeah? Dillian Whyte working with Ben Chalong now, and some next Jeffrey Benz cat. Eddie Hearn being cut out completely, so he ain't getting a split. Because you can bet your bottom dollar, yeah, if Eddie Hearn was getting a split, Dillian Whyte would be there. Why? Because Eddie Hearn wants as big a split as possible. If Eddie Hearn knows he's getting 10%, he wants 10% of $1 billion. He doesn't want to make the event really crap, does he? No. So Eddie Hearn at this point, who's been cut out of the fold, he's got no advantage of making the show a success. Another thing, if you can bet your bottom dollar, if Eddie Hearn had won the purse bid, Dillian Whyte would have been there, even though his split would have been the same, if you get what I'm saying. Dillian Whyte gets paid 20% whether Eddie wins, whether Ben Chalong wins, or whether Frank wins. So why wasn't Dillian Whyte there for Frank, but he would have been there if it was Eddie? That implies Eddie had some Eddie has some level of power. Although there is an argument, well, why be? If Eddie's not involved at all, what influence is he likely to have over Shillian? Which is a fair point. However, another possibility is that Shillian is working with a lawyer who's involved with your man's Eddie Hearn. Who know, often in situations, often when there's a company lawyer, people have split loyalty. That's why they always tell you to get an independent lawyer. Is Jeffrey Benz an independent lawyer? Who knows? I couldn't tell you. Is he working for Eddie? We don't know. Another possibility is that Dillian Whyte has gone to the US and found himself a co-op lawyer who thinks is a hotshot. Which is actually, if I was to bet, I think Dillian has got himself caught up with a wannabe hotshot LA lawyer, New York lawyer, one of them ones, hotshot. Yeah, a fake hotshot. There's real hotshot lawyers who get it done, and they show their worth with results. Then there's wannabe hotshots, people who think they're super hot, think they're super creative, think they're super high IQ, but all the evidence shows they're bums. And let's call a spade here. The year, or the 2 years, that Shillian has been working with this bum Jeffrey Co-op Benz, what has it... People know me, I go based on results, bottom line. And what has the trail of results shown for Shillian? Bottom line, what have they shown? Over the last 2 years, what value? Because we know categorically, Dillian has spent out hundreds of thousands of dollars in lawyer fees. And every investment, or every cash expenditure you make as an individual, that's an investment. Dillian isn't paying a lawyer to lose money, is he? He's paying the money to gain a return. So let's say Dillian Whyte spent $500,000 or $1 million. How much has he generated off of that? Oops. In fact, he's spent $1 million on lawyers' fees and he's lost himself. If he took the YB's advice, I advised Dillian, Team Fury offering you 30%. Take the 30% and be grateful because you're a bum. Dillian and his bum lawyer team said, no, we're not taking 30, we're worth 60. We want 45%, they said. They ended up with 20. So, that in itself shows you. The YB's advice gets you 30%, which would have been what? 30 million. Jeffrey Co-op Benz gets you 8 million. So actually, you've lost $4 million from and it wasn't a rocket science decision. But it shows you what hot shots think they're super hot. Hot shots always aim for the best result. Why? Because Jeffrey Benz ain't got no skin in the game. Jeffrey Benz's skin in the game is to keep Dillian coming back for more. So he wants more mess. But in fact, it's actually adding up now. It's actually adding up What's going on? It's making sense why Dillian at every stage is making legal problems for himself, i.e. not turning up to press conference, etc., etc. So it's all adding up. Dillian's career at the moment is a function of his lawyer's fees. Yeah, his lawyer Jeffrey, he's looking for more money. He can't believe he's come up. Dillian Whyte is a come up for Shillian. He's clocked on, wait there a minute, the more legal mess, the more contracts I violate for Dillian, the more times you're going to pay me. And this often happens, I've got to say this often happens in the community. Yeah? Dons, they get a lawyer, I've got a lawyer from a certain place, and I've got a New York lawyer, thinking that means something. And all Dillian Whyte is to the lawyer is a square, is a come up. He's seeing you as a big money bag. I mean, look at the NBA, look at NFL. We see it every time. Advisors scrounge millions all my time. We see it every time. Yeah, these lawyers from these hotshot lawyers, these hotshot managers, they see these athletes, dopey ass athletes, and they milk them for everything they got because they're dopey. Yeah. And I wouldn't mind, but Dillian, he got other options. The YB here is super cheap, super high IQ. Proven credentials, no doubt, 100%. Yeah, that's what we do know. What we know is the YB's advice make millions of dollars, 100%. That's what we do know. Because you'll be up right now. You'll be up categorically taking the YB's decision. You'll be up 5 mil versus your bum ass decision you made with Jeffrey Benz, with cheap ass co-op lawyer Benz. Facts. What we know is you was advised to miss the press conference. Yeah, it made no sense to no one. It ruins Dillian's legacy, it ruins Dillian's earning potential, and it's now got him in more legal quagmire. And now it's likely to reduce his future earning potential, meaning that, in my opinion, the result of this is going to be Dillian Whyte is sanctioned by WBC even less. Obviously, it's not going to get paid more, is he? So if Dillian Whyte was set to get 17%, it's now going to be 15. Who knows? They may even go as low as 10. If I was them, I'd go as low as 10. You got to bear in mind the full thing here. Dillian Whyte is on a thin rope with the WBC. He should know that. He should know by all the actions that have taken place. He's not in a healthy place. Why is he trying to push the limits for? You know the WBC don't like you. You know things haven't gone your way. Why are you trying to rock the boat? That's what I don't get. And fair enough. Dillian had the right years ago to say, you know what, the WBC playing games, let me go with the IBF, who's straight up and down. He didn't do that. So I don't know what it says about Dillian, but he's been determined to keep going down the WBC route. You've made that choice. Now, this is the bed you're lying in. You picked the WBC bed, who you know is a bit dodgy, and you're trying to act as if it's going to go your way. It's not. And the only person this is benefiting, the only person who's coming up off this is Jeffrey. It's the co-op lawyer. Facts. Because he's now got you in more legal things. Now Frank Warren has petitioned this, as he should do. I was praying. I was shouting. When I watched when I found out Dillian weren't going, I was shouting at the screen saying, Frank, do something legally about this. Because it's not, you can't do that. Oops. All the Dillian fans, whatever, all the Dillian fans who have no education, who are dopey as you like, yeah, well, the worst thing is that dopey Shillian fans actually tried to apply logic. They actually tried to apply some false information. They all started saying, YB, he's getting paid the same no matter what, so he doesn't need to go. You dopey asses. Don't you think if it was that simple, no one would go? That's what a contract's for. Muppets. What you thought promoters don't put, or you thought the regulators don't put no assurances in to the contract to make sure they get some return on investment? Or you thought that the contract says, oh, as long as you turn up on fight day, nothing else matters, and you can just clown off the rest of the time? Jokers. Of course you have to do bare minimum things like press conferences. That's why they exist. Fighters don't want to sit there and answer dead questions. That's the problem. You man just dopey sounding. You man think that, oh well, YB, surely Dillian's got this co-op lawyer who already categorically has lost Dillian millions of dollars. Surely he must be doing something. No, the only thing he's doing is lying in his own pockets. Because now, guess what? Dillian has to pick the phone up to my man's co-op lawyer and say, "Oh, co-op lawyer, guess what? That advice you give me, I need to pay you some more fees to handle this now, because no doubt now Dillian got to pay the lawyer to fix this new problem that sprung up from his own actions. All that man's doing, if you look at the trail, all he's doing is creating more business for himself. Oh, he knows. This is how it works. This is how these guys extract money from the athletes and whatnot, historically speaking. They know, they can see the chessboard. These lawyers know, wait a minute, if I tell him it's great advice not to turn up to the press conference, I know Frank Warren and whoever else are going to sue me for that. And I know Dillian going to be on the phone to me saying, "Oh, we need to do this, but you know what I'm saying? I need you to answer this claim now." It's all fees. And I thought Dillian wasn't that dopey. I really did. Think about it. Dillian has been going to pay-per-view events and has been going to press conferences his whole career. Now all of a sudden, the biggest fight ever, he thinks he don't need to be there. Like, what the Dillian, if that was the case, why did you go to any press conference if you could just miss them? Just proper dopey dudes. I swear down. Never seen so many man dopey, but at least we're getting a real life. We're getting a real life example. Now you man know, yeah, how these athletes lose all their bags. Because they do things like this. They take advice and they end up getting milked by every direction. Because really, Team Fury have milked Dillian. Dillian could have taken 30%, and that 30% would have milked Team Fury of $4 million. Instead, he takes bad advice. Dillian literally, yeah, is getting wicked from every direction. You got Team Fury wicking him. You got his legal team wicking him. Hearn, whenever he can, putting his wicking. Every single direction. I think, knowing what we know now, yeah, about Dillian and his situation with his wife, Lamar Scott, I think he like it. That's what it is. That's what it must be. I think Dillian actually enjoys getting wicked from all directions. Yeah, and to add insult to injury, you've now got the YB. Yeah, the YB putting his wick into the mix. 100%. Every other day, your man the YB throwing his wick right into Dillian's mix. 100%. But it's bad for Dillian. He can, for all you Dillian Whyte man fans, yeah, who I'm sure have gone quiet now. Because listen, last week, his man was celebrating. Yeah, YB, he getting paid anyway. You didn't know that it's in the contract. And it's a bit like the reason I heard someone said, "Oh, the reason Dillian," what people don't realise is Dillian has actually signed the contract. Dillian has signed, and this is why people, if you're an athlete, it's so important to take time to actually learn processes. You don't need a management team. You don't need all these things. Learn it yourself. Read documents yourself. Unless you're no IQ, or better yet, you have to find someone you trust who's got IQ to read it for you. Otherwise, you're just going to be a slave to all these dons trying to come up off you. If Dillian sat down and read the document, he'd know, wait a minute, I'm obliged. Yeah? If I want $8 million, I need to do the minimum things, one of which is attend the press conferences. If he'd have known that, he'd know, wait a minute, it's not a smart move to neg on a contract I've just literally signed a week ago. What's he thinking? And one of the things I've heard is that, oh, YB, well, this slick lawyer from LA, how they do it in LA, they sign things and then they work the details out later. I don't know what they're doing in LA, yeah, but let me tell you how it works in England. If you sign a contract, that's the end of it. There ain't no going back later. I don't know where they're doing that at. Yeah, 100%. Oh, you sign it now and you worry about details later. Who doing that? But it shows you the co-op level of Dillian's team. I've never seen a lawyer from co-op so mad. Yeah, he co-op, 100%. Co-op legal services. That's where this man trained at. Yeah, this man is out of the co-op legal services industry. He came straight out of I swear down. Interesting. I went to co-op the other day and I saw this lawyer in the back. 100%. Trained fresh out of co-op. No doubt about that. Co-op legal services. Type it in and you'll see Dillian's lawyer slap bang on the middle of it. He's the number one co-op lawyer right now. So unfortunately, Dillian Whyte fans, expect your man Dillian is going to get got. And his percentage is going to go zooming down. And I'm just hoping we get, in fact, any IFL TV interviewer, please ask Frank over the next few weeks. The fans want to know the result of this petition against Dillian for missing the press conference. The fans want to know what happened with that. Because I can't wait to do a video herein Dillian has lost himself more money and cost himself more money. Because like I said, it really is a good wicking from all sides. He gets wicked from the WBC, who are going to sanction him. And he then gets wicked by his lawyer for challenging the petition. Or for challenging the sanctions. Do you see the vicious cycle here? Yeah? Dillian's co-op lawyer does something on purpose. He knows. I'm not being funny. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to know. Wait a minute. We literally signed this contract a week ago. If we go back on something on here, we're going to end up in legal trouble. He knew. I'm sorry, but Dillian Whyte's lawyer knows this. But yet he's advising Dillian to do it anyway. And actually, thinking about it, I remember Eddie Hearn saying, and this may actually expose Dillian Whyte's lawyer's agenda even more actually. Because Eddie Hearn, to be fair to him, he did say Dillian Whyte will be at the press conference. In fact, Eddie Hearn sounded quite confident on that. He said, no, Dillian Whyte's not going to be at the press conference. He's going to be there. In fact, I might do a video on that in its own right. But Eddie Hearn said, don't be silly. Dillian Whyte going to be there. And he sounded serious. And now Eddie Hearn, obviously afterwards, said, oh, well, Dillian's making his own decision and whatever else. So that implies Eddie Hearn's out of the loop. And the fact Eddie Hearn was so confident, I think Eddie Hearn to some extent was a bit shocked he didn't go. So that says, if it's not Eddie, who is it? And if even Eddie's shocked, which isn't a surprise, bearing in mind, Eddie's been in this game for how long? Never had a fighter miss a press conference. So, to be quite frank, everyone's shocked. Everyone I've heard from is shocked he's not there. So why is Dillian, and even if Dillian had a brain, even he should be shocked. Wait a minute, I've been involved in boxing in 10 years, had a whole bunch of bum fights, but yet I'm getting advice to miss a press conference. Does that sound smart? At any level. Bearing in mind I've just signed a document saying I'm obliged to go to one. Who's giving him this advice? Guess what? The lawyer. And by the way, people, the lawyer, Frank Warren, said this whole time all the discussions were going on from the lawyer. It was the lawyer complaining. It was the lawyer putting out hit pieces with the Sun newspaper. So this guy, this fake hotshot, that's where this is coming from. Facts. It's not Eddie. I've just debunked that. It's this goofy, funny style lawyer. And by the way, anyone who really cares about Shillian, yeah, you need to tell Shillian, listen Shillian, get away from that guy. He a leech. He's sucked onto you, and he's, and again, maybe Dillian likes it. I was just about to say this leech is on Dillian, and it's this big male, 250-pound leech is sucking him off right now. Yeah, sucking off him. Whatever way you want to say it. Bottom line, yeah, there's a big, round, bulbous leech, and it's sucking Dillian. Maybe, and I told you a second ago, I think you like it. Oops. We know, bear in mind, how big is Lamar? Lamar must be 200 pound. Oh, sorry, Lamar Scott must be 250 pound. So that shows Dillian has an affinity for big dons sucking him off. So is it a big, I mean, not being funny, it's not a big stretch to think, wait a minute, if we know Dillian love Lamar to get on his, you know what I mean? He'd love to be sucked by Dillian love to be sucked by Lamar. So now Dillian's got some new leech, trying to have a go, yeah? Trying to get a suckle. There we are.